Hello, everyone. Welcome to That Park Place Midweek Magic, as I'm calling it here. Maybe in the future, we'll see. Folks, I am Marvin the Wee Monster Montanero. I am the editor-in-chief of a little website called ThatParkPlace.com. Joining me, as always, from the Vash Sky Parkcast, the one and only Mr. Vash Sky. Hello, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on. Yes, hello, good day it is. And what a day it is for theme parks. There's been so many crazy stories going on around here, Marvin, that, man, it is really stacking up there. And I can't wait to get into it with you.
There's so much to talk about. There's Star Wars stuff going on in the theme parks. There's Halloween come earlier and earlier and earlier every year to the point where it might actually start on November 1st at some point. Halloween is taking over Disney earlier and earlier. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Toy Story a little bit today. We're going to be talking about changes in Disneyland, Finding Nemo stuff, Frontierland. There's a whole lot to discuss, including some major movie trailers like this one.
The shadow grows. We must act. The enemy has found the roost. Our arrows are ready, but we need a plan. Then we fly to Mordor. Flock for the plan. By the line of roost. Take that, you brave. What have they done?
Whisper tales of fire and frost. Shadows rise where the borders are lost. Through the woods where the ancient ones sing, I hear the call of the
in the countryside and you see chicken, try to look a chicken in the eye with great intensity, and the intensity of stupidity that is looking back at you is just amazing.
I love that so much. I will say, over the last week, I have popped into the That Park Place StreamYard account just to watch that. Like, not going live or recording or anything like that. I just pop in, I play it, and then I get on with my day. Because it's so good.
It's so epic. It just stirs you up right there. It just gets you pumped. It's like a shot of coffee in the morning.
My favorite part is when the chickens are like, by the light of Roosteria. And then all of a sudden the chickens are like, oh. You get that shot of Lorne. Like, I am so endlessly entertained by Lorne of the Wings. It is
amazing.
Far and away my favorite thing Pro has ever created. No, I think my joke fell on deaf ears. Somebody was like, I think Marv means August 1st. No, I mean November 1st. I mean, my joke was that eventually Halloween will end and then begin immediately thereafter.
There you go.
Because it's just getting earlier and earlier and earlier each year. Kind of like Food and Wine Festival as well. Like, I've always said there will come a day where Food and Wine Festival will end and begin on the same day.
Yes. It never truly ends, Marvin. No, Everything is just an adaptation.
Exactly. But we got some super chats to get to before we dive into the news, Vash. Let's see. Packing Protons for 2 says, rest in peace, Roger Sweet, creator of He-Man. Yeah, he finally went down after a long battle, I believe, with dementia. Ooh. So, yeah, it is not a good story there, Vash, but, it was, it's sad he's not going to be able to see, the film, made of it, but he saw the first one. I don't know. It sounds like it might have, been a long, long fight for him. Justin Dutchy for €6 says a set goal can only mean one thing. Hello, pro. I mean, that's true because you have to be the channel owner to actually set the goals. I've learned, like just being, because I am a manager on that game place, and I tried to set a goal last night and ended up having to call pro to set the goal because
really okay
yeah. And then he made the goal that I have to play a 1v1 with Wilton. So, now that's what's going to happen. Because we hit the goal. But our goal today, guys. If we hit it, Vash and I will give you our top 5 must-eats in the theme parks.
Oh,
so
I like that.
I figured it'd be an easy one. Cuban Superman, member for 12 months, says half the calendar for Magic Kingdom is Mickey's Not So Scary. Yeah, kind of is. We're gonna you know what? And that's a great segue because that is what's going to be our launch story here today on That Park Place. So let's get into it, Vash. Let's talk about it right now. Boo to you again this year, even earlier, as details have been announced for the 2026 version of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and it's getting earlier and earlier every year. How early will it get eventually? Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Vash, this is a little ridiculous. Let's take a look here. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party returns in late summer 2026, and here's everything you need to know. On select nights starting in August, the sun sets over Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom, transforms into the center for all things spooky and fun. Yeah, we know what, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is. But if you look at the actual calendar for it, the first night is August 7th.
August 7th. That's so wild.
I remember a day where Mickey's Not So Scary did not start until September. When I was a kid, I used to go the last week of August, and I never saw a Halloween decoration up. Now, Halloween, that means they're going to decorate for Halloween August 1st, maybe even a little earlier. Which means
they have to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't understand who wants to do Halloween in August. Do they think maybe it's a draw that'll pull people into the parks more at a time when they need it? I don't know.
Well, these extra after-hours parties have been extremely successful, right? And we know that Disney has been factoring this in, even when it comes to attendance, which is very, very interesting. I think Pro has really made some astute observations in that regard. So it benefits them greatly in order to expand these out because, well, as you know, Halloween really only falls on one night, right? So the more you keep stretching it and the more people will allow it, I guess they can do it. I remember, Marvin, being on the monorail, actually. This was 3 years ago when I was in Walt Disney World, and hearing the announcement that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party was going to take place at Magic Kingdom that night, and the words Halloween were used, and a kid next to me was like, Halloween? It's August! And yes, it was August. I think it was August in the teens there, not quite August 7th. But even that reaction was very, I think, emblematic of how a lot of consumers, I think, react to something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. But Halloween, I feel like even more than Christmas, Halloween extends back into the summer more and more and more.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's
to your point, I think they're going to have to start setting up decorations in July, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, not even just with Disney. It's just in life. I feel like so the people who love Halloween are an interesting sort, right? They are obsessive about it. And they'll start, getting spooky and drinking their pumpkin spice lattes and wearing their, all the way back in August. But of course, in August, it's like 90 degrees out. So who really wants to get in Halloween stuff for that? Especially those Halloween costumes. A lot of them are not very cool and comfortable to wear in the Florida summer. But then again, September is always really hot there too. So it's kind of a trade-off, but I don't know. I don't know who's in the Halloween spirit come August. I think they're dipping in a little too much, and I think if we start seeing events not selling out, it's going to be a big deal for them, and that's where they're going to pull back. I honestly think that's what happened with Food and Wine, because they did last year pull back on Food and Wine a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, as much as the market will bear, right? And if the market doesn't
Yeah.
actually bear this, I could definitely see them pulling back in some regard. But it's interesting, Marvin. I've seen a slowdown in like Oogie Boogie Bash ticket sales, for example, over at DCA, and I was thinking, oh, okay, well maybe they're going to go ahead and round this out as well. And then leading up to the event, it sells out. It sells out. It sells out. It's like, okay, so there is maybe no cap to this if they in fact sell out, even if it's at the last minute.
Mm-hmm. So the, but I always find it's always Halloween people where like, if you want to start getting in the Christmas spirit on November 1st, they're like, no, like they need like time to grieve for Halloween. I'm like, dude, you had 3 months of this.
Yes.
Can I tell you the thing, the last couple of years, and I've said this before on shows before, like by the time Halloween rolls around, by the time October 31st hits, I have been sick and tired of Halloween for 2 weeks at that point, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even a month. Like, I'm sometimes sick and tired of it by the time October rolls around. Because I dive into the Halloween stuff right in the beginning of September, because that's when Halloween Horror Nights starts. And I can't imagine them moving Halloween Horror Nights that far back into August. Could you?
I don't see it. And here's the interesting thing about that, Marvin, when it comes to Halloween Horror Nights and whether or not that event is growing, which we know that there's a serious fan collective out there that is very enthusiastic about that, right? I think even more maybe than Mickey's Not So Scary. I think Mickey's Not So Scary.
HHN is massive every year.
Right. Like, people purposely go to Universal just for that, versus Disney. It's kind of something that augments your vacation in a lot of ways. So it's very, very interesting how that has developed. But I was recently talking to somebody about the prospect of like the Vegas experience, right? Where you have this Universal Horror Unleashed, I believe it's what it's called, out there in Vegas that Universal had set up. And we were talking about, this Vegas market, supporting Halloween all year round, and apparently it's just not doing well. Hours are a little wonky. They're doing some discounts now, and so even in a city like that, the appetite for year-round Halloween is simply not there. So I think you're right. Extending this out, especially in the theme park circles in the Florida area with their Halloween Horror Nights, I don't know if the market can really bear it to your point.
August 7th, right? So that's the entire, for better or worse, that's the entire month of August, right? Minus 7 days. You have August, September, October. That's 3 straight months of Halloween. That's a quarter of the year Disney is now dedicating to Halloween.
That's insane. That's absolutely crazy. But
I would never want Universal to extend HHN into August, because I am perfectly cool with where HHN starts, and it's kind of the perfect amount. And I get the frequent fear pass every year, and so I go to HHN probably almost every week during the Halloween season. So trust me, I see how crowded it is. I see what the demand there is for, but I have not seen Universal push that date back the way Disney has.
Right.
So, but like you said, Pro has talked about it before. It is those late night events, man. They are the thing that is driving a lot of that engagement right now for Disney. They're able to count park guests twice for coming to these, and it's helping to boost their numbers where they desperately need to boost their numbers. So, but you know what? Like Ken Reinhardt is saying in here, screw the day guests, because that's the other thing. When you move, when you add dates to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party like this, you are you're closing the Magic Kingdom early, so the day guests actually suffer from this.
Absolutely, in a big way. I think Ken Reinhardt is exactly 100% spot on here. We've seen closures, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I suppose it depends on the event and how long those hours would have normally lasted for. A park like Magic Kingdom, again, this is one of the most attended theme parks in the world, and yet we're closing it early on, all of the nights that you actually see on screen right there. And
because on those days, now for the guest, it's terrible. It decreases the value of a day at Magic Kingdom if you just have a single park ticket. But for Disney, they get double the gate for the day.
Yeah.
because they get the entry. They get the they're not charging you less to come in for a shortened day. That ticket costs the full amount, whether or not you're going from rope drop to close, or whether or not it's closing early. Like that ticket is still costing the same. And then the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party ticket is basically the same price. It might even be more I think about it. Like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party have gotten so expensive that the last step, we always would go to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party as like a Christmas tradition, my wife and I. This last year, we didn't do it. We went to a full day of Epic Universe instead, and it was cheaper.
Wow, that's really profound. I mean, I'd want to be in Epic Universe too, to be honest with you, because it's the newest park and with the newest attractions and so forth. And if you want that Halloween vibe, well, Dark Universe definitely fits that bill. And it's interesting, Marvin, when thinking about this idea of selling the park multiple times, right? I think what we're hearing out of Epic Universe and the possibility of selling like maybe individual land experiences, corporate events being segmented within a certain portal or whatever, I think that's the approach that should be followed, generally speaking, with these kind of events, because it is so disruptive, right? You have to plan your whole vacation around, okay, when is Magic Kingdom going to close early because there's a special event actually taking place. And like you said, I mean, the price... There is some price elasticity, right? Not every single day is the same. There's dynamic pricing involved. And you would hope that you are entering Magic Kingdom on the bottom end of that price elasticity, or maybe you have an annual pass or something that gets you in. But to your point, though, it is still a full day purchase that you are making right there. So it's just a lot to take in, right? If you're an average guest. And I like the idea of closing off maybe portions of a theme park and sequestering those guests to whatever entertainment that is within those bounds. That way, you're not cut off entirely from park access. I understand there might be some park-wide events that you want to have, but with this many dates, you are looking at something that's very, very disruptive.
Yep, absolutely. So last year, they started on August the 15th, so a full week before. And 2 years ago, it started on the 9th. So it did start earlier 2 years ago. So I guess, but it seems like it's always the same, like 38 party dates. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like when you're going at like the end of July or beginning of August, you're not looking to see jack-o'-lanterns. And to be fair, it's not like Christmas, because like with Christmas, when they decorate for Christmas, it's Christmas everywhere. Like Christmas is everywhere, and Halloween is like, unless it's the party, it's just Halloween on Main Street USA. So, thank goodness for that, right?
Thank goodness for that. And look, if you want to go ahead and dress up in a Halloween costume, to your point that you made earlier, in 100+ degree weather, and go to one of these events, be my guest. And have you ever gone to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party? I have not, at least at Magic Kingdom, but I have gone to like a Boogie Bash, for example, over at DCA. I get a little bit of that, and I was there at Walt Disney World, in which you had multiple nights that did involve Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and in that case, I was able to see a lot of costumes and so forth, and got to see a little bit of the lines for the event itself that usually occurs right at the start of the mix-in right there. I mean, that whole area in front of Magic Kingdom completely filled with people. So there is certainly a fervor when these things happen. There's no question about that. But really, I mean, 38 nights out of 365, Marvin, that's 10% of the year. Yeah. So it's like, it's for an event that usually takes place once a day, which is Halloween. This is a little excessive. I will say though, Marvin, when it comes to the merch as well, when they launch the stuff, I believe it's like the halfway the Halloween point is when they bring out their merchandise line. At least at Disneyland, we covered a story, I think it was on that Pod Place a little while ago, of all of these gals that were just storming the various shops around the Disneyland resort. I think that was the what is it, the Wonderground shop or the large one in Disney Springs or Denton Disney. Which one is that called again? Walt Disney, I believe.
Yeah, completely. Like
was completely taken up by gals that were looking to get those merchandise offerings and so forth, and of course a lot of the shops in Disneyland itself. It was crazy to see because they were just clawing at each other trying to get this merch. So certainly there is enough to support it. To this extent, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, we will see. How early in the season Walt Disney World will be saying "boo" to you. That "Boo to You" song, though. I haven't been to the Halloween party in a while.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really change, right? It's kind of the same old thing. And I think a lot of people I've heard complain about the staleness of the event.
It is the same thing. The last thing they added to it was, I believe they changed the fireworks show from Hallowishes to the Jack Skellington one. And they added, in the time that I've lived here, within the last decade, they have added the Hocus Pocus stage show, which is the best stage show on property, I will say. And it's a lot of fun. It's just it never changes. If you go once, you go... Like, the thing about Halloween Horror Nights is a dynamic event. It changes every year.
Yes.
There's a different theme every year. There's different characters, different houses, different attractions. So, different food. At Magic Kingdom, it's down to the food. It's typically the same thing every year.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's like, okay, well, I could spend this much money to go to an event like this, which, if you're augmenting your vacation or something like that, you might want to go ahead and do that with your family. There's no question. But when you look at Halloween Horror Nights and the plethora of entertainment options that are available right there and how dynamic the event actually is, it's certainly worth going to every single year.
I do think Oogie Boogie Bash is superior to Mickey's Not So Scary, though, from what I've seen.
I would tend to agree with you. I've looked at some of the offerings and compared between the two because I haven't gone to Magic Kingdom and experienced that in full. Obviously my experience there is limited, but from what I can tell and the entertainment offerings that are available, I think Oogie Boogie Bash is just a slight tad bit higher, but goes down if they get rid of that parade because of all that construction going on for Coco. So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be interesting. All right, let's see. We got some super chats. Metalcore Breakdown for 199 says, on purpose to take down America 250 early. Shame. I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that because they're celebrating the 250. Or was it semi-quincentennial?
Yes, I do believe so.
Yeah, they're celebrating the semi-quincentennial all July. And that's going to bring an abrupt end to it because you're going to have to take down all the bunting. You're going to have to take down all of the Americana off Main Street. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's a good point, Metalcore Breakdown.
In July, by the way. So, I mean, it's like, you celebrate July 4th, and only weeks later do we start taking a lot of this stuff down, which I think, to your point, Metalcore Breakdown, and to your point, Marvin, this is a complete shame. The 250, the previous bicentennial was celebrated... not even just resort wide, but company wide. There was the American Parade. Oh, it was.
It should have started
incredible.
Already. Yeah, like the celebration should have started already. Honestly,
correct. Yes, and we've seen some movement. Right? They announced the new Soarin' film, which is really, really good, and that's in, I believe, post-production right now, which is encouraging. And yeah, you would hope that they would really go out in the bunting and everything like that, but maybe they don't because, well, it's not going to be around for that long.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be interesting. Shelby's Crafty Books says, my local Lowe's was putting up Halloween displays for sale during June last year. That's crazy.
Whoa.
That is crazy. And then they'll complain when Christmas stuff goes up early.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I like the juxtaposition right there for sure.
Like I said, Halloween people have said to me, like, it's too early for Christmas on November 1st. Like, you have to give us time. Halloween just ended. I'm like, you had 3 months of this. I'm allowed my 2.
Yes,
and I know
the other holidays.
Well, here's my thing about Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put my tree up on November 1st. My tree is not in a window or anything like that. It's only inside my house, so only I see it. I do not decorate outside until Thanksgiving's over. Because my thing is, I want to have Christmas early every year because I love Christmas so much. I will not force it on others, if that makes sense.
Understood.
Yeah.
I totally get that right there. Not like those dastardly Halloween people force Halloween into Christmas, and we only get 2 months of one and 3 months of the other. Dang it!
Cuban Superman for $5 says not only are the MK tickets not discounted on Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party nights, but neither are lightning lanes. That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
It is a very interesting point.
If you're paying full price for that lightning lane premiere pass, and you only get X amount of hours in the parks that are not, it's not a full day, like what are you paying for?
You would think that maybe the price of Lightning Lane be halved or something like that because you are only getting half the day in which to use a lot of those services.
Oh, Vash, you should know better than that by now. We don't discount anything.
You can't discount anything, right? You got to sell full freight for everything. And I do wonder if, because of the plethora of nights that are available for this, does it start to cannibalize the day guests to a point where both events, I guess, the regular day for Magic Kingdom and the actual event itself is lowly attended because of all that. That's a really interesting dynamic there.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Sorry, I'm trying to get our next story set up so we can get to it. Tony Piacenti for $5 says Halloween is for Disney like Christmas is for retail, a huge cash cow. Of course the parties get extended. Well, that's the thing. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is more expensive than Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I believe. But I think that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party makes them more money. I think it's more well attended. I think more people buy the merch. I think that, also, by the way, I saw somebody say this, and to be fair, Universal does close down its park, get a double whammy on its parks for Halloween Horror Nights too.
Of course.
But the other thing Universal does though is they sell the Frequent Fear Pass, which gets you into Halloween Horror Nights. Pretty much every event for some
multiple
tiers
times
of it. Yeah, so Disney doesn't do anything like that.
Right. You're paying each time, and I don't think they give any discounts to the annual pass holders either.
They do not. Bruce Newhouse for $4.99 says Josh had Old Glory raised 1 second early and 1 millimeter higher.
$2.50.
Good Lord. Metalcore Breakdown for $1.99 says Hershey Park is celebrating the 250 April to January.
I like that. Yeah.
I like that too.
I like that.
Yeah.
You can incorporate some Christmas festivities into your 250, like having red, white, and blue Christmas lights. That would be very interesting.
Absolutely. And look, like people will talk about like, I see Christmas stuff in the department stores early. And to that, I'm like, well, yeah, because people want to buy that stuff early so that they're ready to decorate when the time comes and they're not like making a mad rush. Like that's how I always picture. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll go buy my lights now. Like I'll buy them now. I'll put them in the garage until it's time to put them up. So, all right, but we have got another story to get to, Vash, and we have got to, wait, what the heck? For some reason it's not. All right. Sorry. It for some reason the screen share didn't go through.
That's interesting.
Yep. Don't worry, I'm working on it. It was still showing. Like I switched it over to our next story, but it was still showing the previous story. All right, I got it. So time for our next story.
There we go. One more for the top. Triple decker, just how you like it.
Wow, thanks, Mr. Walt.
You enjoy it.
We will.
Big changes are coming to Frontierland in Walt Disney World, and people are not standing for it. Angry Disney World fans are venting over the closure of classic attractions, and we're going to talk about it today on That Park Place. Vash, this is coming to us from the New York Post, of all places.
New York?
Yeah. So that means like the Disney fan rage has hit the mainstream media now.
This is very interesting, Marvin, because we've seen a series of articles actually be published by the New York Post talking about theme park issues, and it's very, very interesting to see such an outlet with such a infamy or prestige actually talking about these issues.
So it says fans of Walt Disney World are in for a wild ride as construction for the upcoming Piston Peak National Park at the Florida theme park ramps up. Much of Frontierland and Magic Kingdom is slowly being replaced, and fans aren't thrilled. Popular Disney blog Inside the Magic, well, that popular is a subjective term, reported that large sections of the area are now consumed by construction walls, notably around Big Al's and Westward Ho area, where guests have now been funneled through a temporary narrow walkway. However, even that small amount of limited access may soon be closing. Inside the Magic noted that permit filings and typical timelines at Disney could point to the reimagining pathway closing imminently. If that walkway is eliminated, some of the parts of the park will disappear from view, including Big Al's, which is considered a piece of Disney's history, as it's one of the few structures that has been there since the Magic Kingdom's early years. Oh, they don't care about that. One of the most discernible changes has been the closure of the Frontierland Boardwalk shortcut, which was once a quiet bypass for guests to use during peak crowds. Some fans have expressed concern that the small back walkway near Country Bear Musical Jamboree could also close as construction advances. Several snack kiosks and merchandise stops considered staples in Frontierland are additionally being removed as the new Piston Peak National Park is making its way in. And Blog Mickey noted that the Frontierland Walt Disney World Resort Station has shut down, with the train now operating as a shuttle between Fantasyland and Main Street USA. Fans have expressed their disappointment and frustration over having to say goodbye to the Frontierland they once knew and loved. What the hell is the point? Who the bleep is wanting this? What does this accomplish? Who asked for the destruction of Dino Land? Who's asking for this? Who says, yep, Frontierland, we have some big, huge world issues over there. We got to get right on changing it, one disgruntled fan questioned on Reddit. I love Frontierland, keep it as it is, another wrote, but why? They fit the theme of the area, and yes, I know likely due to new cars area, but are we really going to tear down Frontierland for this? Someone else wrote, I utterly despise that they're closing the Rivers of America just to replace it with a Cars attraction of all things. I have several issues with this, one fan ranted on Reddit last year, with someone else noting, with the river gone, that area is going to be a concrete monstrosity. This all sounds very familiar, Vash.
Very familiar, yes, because these are the a lot of the same issues. We verbalized them a little bit differently than some of these disgruntled guests, but maybe in some cases, right? But no, there are very, very big problems with this construction project, and this is why we've questioned the value of a full price ticket at Magic Kingdom, for example, because there's so much of this park that is behind walls or with limited operations, like the shuttle mode for the Walt Disney World Railroad. Big Thunder obviously is not even operational right now, and they're building this huge, tremendous wall around it, which is very, very interesting. So it's just like to charge as much as they do, and to say that we're really guest focused and leaning and so forth. This is very self-serving of Disney. I mean, we all know why they're doing this. We all know why they got rid of Rivers of America in order to reduce maintenance costs, in order to bring up revenue potential with these new Cars and Villains Land attractions by charging Lightning Lane, all these different things. And it's like, is the pain even going to be worth it at the end? I don't even know.
Probably not at all. It is it's wild, man. Like it's but also, as Ken Reinhardt said, welcome to 1 year ago at that park place. Yeah, seriously, guys. Frontierland though, like it is like really rough to even walk through it anymore.
Oh, I mean, I've seen the video. Unfortunately, I've not had to take the steps myself, so I've not had the distinct pleasure of doing that. But
yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild to walk through there and be like, I can't believe this is what it looks like right now for the duration of this.
The funnels, by the way, too. Where you if you want to go to Tiana's Bay Adventure, which I know, shocking. Who would ever want to do that? But if you want to go into the parks, one of their only water rides actually available there, to pass over the bridge and so forth with as many construction walls as they have, and to have these narrow pinch points, which various areas of Big Thunder maybe are causing issues, or even Rivers of America, it's just not a pleasant experience.
Correct.
And this is why the decision to do this, especially right now when Epic Universe is just kind of gaining momentum and really gaining traction right there with the extended fan community and so forth. I think a lot of people are giving second thoughts to booking a vacation, maybe even to Walt Disney World as a whole, but certainly looking at Magic Kingdom and going, well, let's go ahead and visit the other parks, whether that be Disney or other places.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's wild to me though that the guest rage has reached such an intensity that it's now being broadcast out in the mainstream media. It's being put out through publications like the New York Post. I mean, we've been talking about this since they made the announcement that they were doing it. And, I got to think the guest dissatisfaction has only grown as they've walked around. I mean, we heard it in Epcot for years as they were redoing Epcot, how everyone hated the walls and all that stuff. But like back in the day, like, do you remember like when they were building Guardians of the Galaxy? They put up the wall around Ellen's Energy Adventure, and it was like really cool. It was like themed to Guardians of the Galaxy. There were like Groot was on it. It was like a space like galaxy motif. They called it the Galaxy Wall. People were taking pictures with it. They're not doing that in Frontierland at all. They're not having like like even in Animal Kingdom they're putting up like pictures of what's coming and stuff like that. At Frontierland, man, it's just a brown wall. It is a poop-colored wall that extends along the entirety of the land.
I mean, it goes on for forever, right? From basically all the way from Liberty Square, right, all the way around there, all the way around that bend and so forth, and it's very unsightly. There's no question about it. Obviously, there were fish and dead, rotting things happening in the initial days. Obviously, that's a lot of that has been cleaned up as they've kind of retilled the soil and everything like that, getting ready for installation of some of these bigger structures. And now we have some of the steel and concrete actually going in, but still, it's extremely unsightly. I'm sure it's very, very noisy around those areas at certain particular hours of the day. Go ahead.
My favorite was just how like it seemed like there was almost like divine like intervention against what Disney's been doing. Like, remember when they drained the river and then like it torrentially downpoured right afterward and filled it back up? Like,
yes, that was Walt actually saying that. No, let my river flow.
Well, right so that I felt like that was Walt. And then the day that they announced, the day that they started selling alcohol in the Magic Kingdom, I think it was when they it was about a year ago. Like it was right around Halloween last year, not a full year ago. Because I remember I was at the Halloween Horror Nights press event, and they had just opened up the bar, the Pirates Bar in the Magic Kingdom, and immediately the power grid for like all of Walt Disney World went down.
Yes.
And I was just like, man, like Walt is pissed.
Walt is pissed, and even your big solar farm couldn't save you. No, this whole thing right here is I think it's very, very interesting, Marvin, that the frustrations of guests, like you were saying right there, has reached such a fervor, right? In order to reach these outlets, that's a particular issue right there going on. But at the same time, from a casual fan's perspective, a lot of people are kind of questioning whether or not, like I was saying before, whether this whole thing is worth it in the end. I think for like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and I remember encountering a lot of these problems with Disneyland, right, when that was actually going in. And that was like a 3-year process in which you had substantial portions of like the railroad, for example, shut off for that length of time, the Mark Twain Riverboat, the Columbia, right? Those actually couldn't circumnavigate those waterways because a portion of those were removed in order to make way for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And it was very disruptive. There's no question about that. It wasn't as disruptive as this because, at least in this case, they had a partial allowance for the river, right? They didn't get rid of the entire thing, obviously, but they did kind of water dam portions of it so that you at least got that river feel during that entire process, which I liked and I think fans really did appreciate. Also, too, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was looked at as something. It was like, oh, this is going to be the next big thing. It's going to be entirely transformative for the entire theme park experience, right? It's going to be this big deal. However, we all know what actually happened on the other end. So, having Magic Kingdom guests now, with that history in mind, going through this long, distillation or gestation period for this construction right here, I think a lot of people are wondering, like, is this all going to be worth it? This park is going to be forever changed.
Yeah.
And are the attractions on the other side going to captivate audiences? I don't know.
Sure. Absolutely, guys. So, guys, at the end of the day, People are pissed off. Frontierland is in shambles. Fans are making their voices heard, and the mainstream media is starting to notice. Vash, we have another person joining us right now from the world of My Nerdy Home and Geeks and Gamers. Please welcome the one and only Steph.
Hello.
Hello there.
Change your name to about to get crushed in Mario Kart tonight.
You know what? That's fine. I'm so tired.
I have got red shells with your
I can't
name
even
on
go
it
back
tonight,
and forth.
girl.
I'm so tired.
Wow, you really are tired. You never give up an opportunity to
I know.
like trash
I
talk.
never give an opportunity to roast.
What, are you
I'm
not
just so
sleeping?
tired. I was already tired, and then I had to do a stream with Mike and Beardo, and I'm fully exhausted now. I need to nap.
Yeah. I had to get that.
Understandable.
You guys talked about the PlayStation stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get that article out for you guys this morning. But yeah, it's pretty wild. So guys, go check out the replays and clips that are going to come out for Geeks and Gamers Daily to see Steph on there. And make sure you check out her channel, My Nerdy Home, as well. Guys, we have got another story to get to, and it is about one of my least favorite people in Hollywood, the one and only Ellen DeGeneres.
Ooh.
So, yeah, right? Well, it looks like Ellen DeGeneres is coming back for another round as Dory the fish, but they might want to find another actress. Of course, now I can't, I'm doing the tag to get us into the stinger, and my computer is freezing up, so now I can't actually hit the thing. Welcome to the Dream Factory, guys.
Oh, isn't that really annoying? That happens to me.
It's showtime! Straight from the heart of the park!
Dory is coming back, and Ellen DeGeneres is coming with her. But the question being asked by many people is, with the star's recent dip in popularity, should Disney be finding a new Dory? Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Guys, Ellen DeGeneres will return as Dory in Pixar short. Ellen DeGeneres is set to return as Dory in a new Pixar short film, according to a Deadline exclusive. This brings another adventure for the friendly, forgetful fish in the Finding Nemo universe. Now, of course, we all know Ellen DeGeneres was Dory in the 2003 animated film Finding Nemo, and then that film earned over $900 million worldwide and became one of the highest-grossing animated films of its time. Also received critical recognition, included the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, and then Dory's role grew in popularity, and they did Finding Dory in 2016, and that earned over $1 billion. So the reported Pixar short would mark another return for DeGeneres as Dory after nearly a decade since the last film. Pixar has a history of producing short films that revisit established characters or explore side stories within a franchise. So guys, let me ask you this. Are you against the idea, Steph, of more Dory?
No. Because she's a character. It's not...
Right.
Yeah.
Are you against the idea of Ellen DeGeneres voicing her continued?
Everything that's happened with Ellen DeGeneres, and her, I guess, being caught up. Oh my gosh! Hold on.
They were saying that she was essentially being
Ellen DeGeneres. Her show being canceled. It turns out, she's not a nice person. She's a terrible person. All of the stuff with the Epstein files, that is all alleged, until charges are brought and she's guilty. All of that is still alleged. However, it would sort of tarnish that, being that Disney would partner with this person again and have her voice Dory. It would look bad on them, because of everything that's come out since. At the same time, she really has sort of made that character her own, and you can't think about Dory without thinking about Ellen. It's voiced by Ellen DeGeneres.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a real pickle. Morally, I have a problem with her coming back as the character, but the fact that she's still an actress, and that is her role. Everything else is alleged. So her coming back.
I agree. I'm with you.
That role. Yeah.
I'm with you 100% on that, because I honestly think that Dory should not be recast. I think that if you can't use Ellen in a way that is, that vibes with people, then you shouldn't bring Dory back at all, Vash. I feel like the character might just need to sit for a little bit. But again, as far as Disney is concerned, this is $1 billion character, and so we want to bring it back.
close to a $2 billion character, right? When you factor in Finding Nemo, the original, that was one of the very first films, animated films that I could remember actually getting super close to that $1 billion mark. And obviously, you do have future successes from Pixar after that. Look, I mean, a very extremely popular franchise. This is why we have Finding Nemo attractions on both coasts. There at Disneyland and the Submarine Voyage, also there at the Living Seas over at Epcot. Which, by the way, I heard that Ellen did not come back for that and voice Dory in those iterations. She was a little bit choosy when it came to stuff like that. From what I heard, she's like, okay, well, I'll come back for like a movie, but I won't necessarily come back for an attraction, which was a real shame. And well, maybe it provides a little bit of insight into her character, as we all know. She hasn't unfortunately escaped those allegations of maybe some misconduct that was happening behind the scenes on her show right there, which is really, really something. I look at this and I go, yeah, I mean, you'd like this character to sit maybe just a little bit for some of this heat to die down, but I don't know if it truly will. And I don't think it has stained the character when upon subsequent watches, right? Maybe people don't even know, or especially little kids or so forth, maybe don't know who Ellen is.
Right.
But man, at the time that they incorporated her, she was beloved, and now it's just like, it's one of these things. And I think this is going to happen with maybe a lot of voice actors and maybe some actors in major film, television, etc., where you have to make these decisions where it's like, is it the quality of the character, or is it more, tied in so far with the actor or actress that you necessarily can't go forward maybe with that character, maybe with that franchise. In this case, they might be able to get away with it, but time will tell. I think time is going to be the deciding factor here.
Well, so I agree with Steph that Ellen and Dory are so closely tied. It was like Robin Williams and the Genie. Like when they tried to go to another Genie when they did Return of Jafar, people didn't like it. When Homer Simpson played the Genie, people didn't like that very much, and they had to bring him back for the King of Thieves. Yeah. I will also say that we saw what happened at Pixar when they tried to recast Buzz Lightyear, when they made Chris Evans Buzz Lightyear in the Buzz Lightyear movie.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's why that movie failed, but I'm saying that's why people heard Chris Evans' voice come out of Buzz Lightyear in those trailers, and a lot of them probably said, that's not Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, man, they are Buzz and Woody. I don't think you can replace them.
I don't think you can replace either of them. It's very interesting because they're on such different ideological wavelengths, but I think people still resonate with both of them, especially together, and that's why they're pursuing Toy Story 5, as we all know. I like the chat right there. Keeping Superman. Just get Jim Cummings. He can do everything. Yeah,
well, that's true.
Jim Cummings.
I would not put it past Jim Cummings to be able to do a spot on Ellen DeGeneres.
yes, exactly. That would be quite amusing to actually witness. And did he voice Aladdin, by the way, in the Return of Jafar thing? I can't remember the actor who actually took up the mantle from Robin Williams for that brief period of time.
It was the guy that plays Homer Simpson.
Oh, I see.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was the guy who plays Homer.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's, can you necessarily have somebody actually come in and voice this work right here? Clearly they did it for the attractions, so conceivably they can do it here, but yeah, Steph brings up a really great point, and I do agree with you, Marvin and Steph. It's so tied to that actress, right? You kind of have to have her part of it, or else you don't do it at all. Now, I think that won't stop Disney, but I think for fans, if you're expecting $1 billion film, right, from Finding Dory 2 or something like that, I don't think that's possible without Ellen.
Oh yeah, I agree. But this is not a film. It's not a full film.
I was just about to ask. This is for a short, right?
It's for a short, yeah.
Okay. So I think that with a short, then I don't think it'll cause that much controversy. I think that if it was for a movie and she had to do a whole bunch of promotional interviews and things like that, that would be hard to deal with and hard to navigate considering everything that's been coming out. But because it's a short, she's an actress. She'll voice Dory, right? Morally, I don't really like Ellen DeGeneres, but she's until more stuff comes out, I can't really say, yeah.
Well, bringing it back to the short context, can you maybe have somebody else voice the character in that instance if it's just limited?
That is true.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Maybe.
we're gonna see. We're gonna see when this short comes out, guys, whether or not it causes a controversy and the fans want Dory to forget Ellen. All right, we got some super chats to get to here, guys. You're being very, very generous out there today. Tony Piacenti for 5 says DEI Imagineering is ruining Frontierland, but at least we get shape language. Yeah, no, we have a ton of shape language going on.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture. But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship River the attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
Amazing.
Absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. I just wanted to highlight this one. Lady Starstruck says she was just in the Hall of Presidents. They never say 47's name. I can't imagine that's true. I've seen the new version, and they definitely say, don't they say his name when they announce him? And then when
Say
he does,
his name? No, I'm joking.
yeah,
Yeah, they do. I think they do,
and
yeah.
he appears. No, but like because they say all the presidents' names, like they would not like unless they say and now the current president of the United States, and then he does his spiel. I don't know because like he takes the oath of office from George Washington, I believe. So. Gone are the days where they do an actual speech. Like they used to do an actual speech. I think that got done away with with Obama. I remember Bush and Clinton doing speeches.
Yes. Well, I do believe. Well, Trump gives a speech, right? But it's.
I don't think he gives a speech. I think he just does the. I think he just does the oath. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's been a while since I've seen
Well,
it. Biden didn't do a speech either. I mean, probably wouldn't have been able to get through it. So even the animatronic was gaffing. So they had to just do the repeat after me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I know they changed the format and everything like that. They've changed the format a number of times, and I've only seen the Trump 2.0 version. I think once when we actually did that introductory video, which you actually, by the way,
I filmed that.
You filmed it. Yeah,
I filmed that one,
which was absolutely fantastic right there. So my memory is just a little bit hazy, but I do think you're right. I think he takes the oath. And Bruce Newhouse is saying that they say Trump at 45. So when they're actually calling the presidents, they do say his name at least once.
Okay. WJB Daily for $5 says, like Eddie Murphy and Donkey and Robin Williams and Jeannie, Dory cannot be separated from Ellen DeGeneres and should just be retired. I kind of agree.
Probably.
Packing Protons for 5 says Nemo last spotted trying to escape a white bag as he was being pushed into an ambulance. Dory unable to be reached for comment. Okay. Packing Protons for 5 again. Is Steph aware Beardo's favorite song, Grandma Got Run Over by a Rain Dog?
A rain dog.
Yeah, the joke will never die. Yes, Beardo thinks deer are giant dogs, but, you know. Cuban Superman for 5. Not casting Tim Allen was my number one reason for not watching Lightyear, long before any of the story was put out there. You know, like when I thought about it, like at first I was like, oh yeah, Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear in like a Buzz Lightyear of Star Command kind of thing. I could see that. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, wait, if this is the movie that Andy saw, where he then gets the action figure from the movie, why wouldn't the action figure sound like the movie? Like why wouldn't he like push the thing where it's like it's a deep mission in uncharted space? I'd be like, that doesn't sound like him. So.
You would think they would go with something like that because the whole thought process of the film was that this is the film that Andy saw and he was so inspired to buy a Buzz Lightyear action figure based on this. So you would think that there would be that cohesion right there, which is very, very interesting. By the way, speech by George Washington, Lincoln, and yes, the oath of office by Trump. But go ahead, please.
It is a it's also just a terrible movie, Lightyear. Because I loved. Did you guys ever watch the old Buzz Lightyear of Star Command cartoon show?
Yes.
It's actually very, very good. And, you know, I really enjoyed it. But that movie, man, it did not capture any of that. Like, they made Zurg like a weird future version of Buzz. It was terrible. Just really, really bad. Christian Carliejo for 2 says, how would fans react to Dory being voiced by AI? Probably the same way they react to anything AI does, which is, you know, not great.
Some of that stuff is a little unhinged.
So, speaking of Buzz Lightyear, guys, we have our next story is actually about Toy Story. So let's have a look see at what is going on in the world of Disney and Pixar.
It's showtime! Straight from the heart of the park!
Toy Story 5 is coming really, really fast, guys. It's almost here, and it is not going to be for the weak of heart. Toy Story 5 is breaking tradition. No more G rating for Toy Story movies. They're going PG, and they're going beyond to infinity and beyond, even. We are going to see possibly more movies after Toy Story 5. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Guys, this is from World of Real. Toy Story 5 rated PG. First time in the franchise after 4 G-rated films. Toy Story through Toy Story 4 carried a G rating. The brand has long stood as one of the most family-friendly IPs in modern animation. Now, the shift to PG could open the door to darker, more complex storytelling, exactly what you want in your Toy Story, or at least one can hope. Perhaps more intense moments, although given the furnace climax in Toy Story 3, it's actually surprising that film managed to retain a G. Yeah, seriously? Like, when I first heard this, I'm like, wait, Toy Story 3 was G-rated?
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty wild.
The moment of like existential horror when these toys accept their inevitable demise and like hold hands and wait for the end to come. I was like, this was G-rated. But
strong message.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how do you feel? Like, so rated PG. I mean, I don't know if that means there's going to be some stronger, a little bit of stronger. I mean, PG is still, you know, it's nothing like crazy. It's not like, you know, it's just not G-rated. But I really don't know what the line in the sand is there between PG and G-rated.
Yeah, we need Jonas to come in here and educate us all on the very, very minute differences between all of these. If you don't know, Jonas actually edited his own films in order to show to his kids, which is very, very interesting.
They said but. They said but. I better get it out of there.
Oh, I gotta get out of there. Not with 2 G's.
Can't have that.
Yes, but it's very. I mean, if you want to take this franchise, I guess, in multiple iterations, right, where it becomes basically like Fast and Furious, in which you just have one of these every so often, I guess you have to, you know, maybe raise the stakes, maybe raise the rating and so forth in order to keep people coming back and seeing something maybe fresh and new. Going in this direction with these characters, I don't know if it's the best idea in the world, but you know. Disney, you can't stop them from doing something twice, 3 times, 4 times. I guess if it was good enough to do it once, you could do it again.
As long as, well, that's what we were saying before, Bash, is that like as long as they put these things out there and as long as it makes money, they'll keep doing it over and over and over again.
Right.
Like I personally don't have a problem with them going PG for Toy Story instead of G. It just struck me as slightly odd because at the end of the day, a PG movie is you know, it's good, still good for all audiences. It's just a matter of there may be some subject matter, you know, a little deeper than what you're normally used to in a G-rated movie. But Steph, I think PG is probably this pretty standard for kids movies nowadays, right?
I think so. As far as like kids movies, PG is pretty standard now. All of the other Toy Stories were rated G. That actually kind of makes me wonder, with the PG rating, that means that it could include some material that are like a little bit of maybe just a mild violence, right? Mild.
But
violence.
I mean, like there was mild violence in the first Toy Story.
A little bit of language, mild bad language. So I'm just kind of like, what is it going to be? And I'm wondering if it's just the language part, right? Someone says like a bad word or something. I'm wondering if it's like the language part, or even like intense themes. Maybe the toys go through something like really intense that requires parents to further explain. But that's what I'm wondering. Or is it because the character is going to be like a lot older? Is she going to be going through something that requires like a PG rating? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. But most kids movies nowadays are PG.
Yeah, like something like Shrek, I think would always.
Yeah,
be PG.
most of them are PG. Just because like it's like mild language or, you know, intense, really big potty humor, stuff like that, would be like a PG rating. It's not like rare that movies get a G rating, but most of it is like PG.
I'm going to find it really interesting to watch this movie and see if I can figure out why this is PG, whereas like Toy Story 3 and 4 were rated G.
Yeah, I think it'll pop out at you. I think it's pretty easy to see why something is rated PG.
I wonder
Well,
if
it's gonna.
something.
Go ahead, Vash.
No, I wonder if something occurs with Bonnie or something like that, because we know this film, talks about the idea of the social media age, especially with tablets and cell phones. Do they demand more of kids' attention than toys, and how the toys have to compete with that? It's a very kind of interesting thing. I wonder if there's something experienced there. But I'm reminded of the outtake controversy of Toy Story 2, right? I don't know if anybody's heard the story, but there was Pixar back in the day. During the credits, used to do these outtakes that they would have with the characters. They've changed this format a number of times. But Toy Story 2 was one of the last ones in which they did this, which I thought was a really kind of cool thing. But one of the inclusions was Stinky Pete, I guess, talking to a couple of Barbie figures and saying, hey, meet me in my dressing room or something like that. There was some strong innuendo there that they eventually removed.
I could get you a bigger role. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly. It was like, whoa. But that, if you're saying that's, part of this G rating right here, it is kind of interesting what direction they'll go for that PG rating here.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that people found that controversial, but now looking back on it, I guess I could see why. Knowing what we know now about Hollywood. But we are going to have a point of comparison, guys, because as you can see here, Toy Story, they're saying they have ideas beyond Toy Story 5. So Toy Story 4 was about a decade ago. Toy Story 3, many people thought that was the off-ramp, that was the perfect ending, the perfect way to cap off this series. Toy Story 5 is on the way, but Entertainment Weekly has an extensive story on the highly anticipated Pixar sequel out on June 19th. In it, the magazine reveals that director Andrew Stanton believes, quote, with just 2 months of brainstorming the mundane elements of the life cycle of a toy, there would be 2 movies worth of Toy Story material to explore next. Maybe not with Bonnie, but a different character as a focal point. That's why I feel like it can keep going. Man, how much longer are we going to drag this out? Toy Story 4 is terrible.
Yeah, I hate Toy Story 4. It is awful.
Yeah.
And I think with we were just talking about how voice actors, it's hard to separate them from these characters. And, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, man, they're getting up there in age. And it's kind of like when James Earl Jones came back and voiced Mufasa. You could tell that he was older in his voice when he was voicing Mufasa. You could hear the age in his voice. I think it's the same thing with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to hear that sort of age in their voice. And so how long can they do that? I understand that there could be potential stories to tell. I mean, one of them being when Woody goes off with Bo Peep at the end of Toy Story 4, there could be a ton of little adventure stories that they could tell with Woody there. But why do that? Honestly, Toy Story 3 was perfect. It was the greatest closing to a trilogy. Toy Story 4 was terrible. I'm not really looking forward to Toy Story 5 because I don't think that it's going to be any good.
Toy Story 4 was a character assassination of Woody.
And Buzz, It was all of them were had character assassination.
Well, and so
Buzz went back to his factory settings, thinking that his voice modulator or whatever was his inner monologue, was his conscience. That was really dumb. It was character assassination for all of those characters.
Yeah.
It was such a terrible movie. So
it really was bad. I mean, it was you look at Woody, his primary motivation for the entirety of the first 3 movies are, I have to be there for this kid, I have to be there for this kid, I have to be there for this kid. Toy Story 4 comes around and he was like, I don't have to be there for this kid.
I know.
Which is just
he's
what?
She's growing up. See you later. I'm going to go off with Bo Peep.
I'm not going through this again.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem with it.
The purpose of a toy's being is to be there for his kid. I mean, he was even going to go off with Andy to college. That's how deeply attached, he is, and how much he believes that a toy is there to be there for the kid. That's what he believes. That's Woody to his core. It's with the lesson that he teaches all of the toys that he comes into contact with. You're there for your kid. That's it.
Well, and how about the fact that like, you know, his entire thing was always like, you have to be there for the kid, and that was always like for Andy when he was the favorite of Andy. But with Bonnie, he's not the favorite anymore, and then all of a sudden it's yeah, I could blow this popsicle stand. Like
Exactly. Woody has always been selfless, and Toy Story 4, like they made him so selfish.
Yeah. Bingo.
Like, why would you do that to Woody?
Bingo.
Well, and that's the problem with continuing this series, right? Where it has kind of arcs and sweeps and so forth, and characters that grow and feel dynamic and really come to a certain point, right? At a certain extent in the franchise, you're going to have to rethink these characters, and in order to give them either arcs of their own self-contained within these films, or on continuing sagas, and that usually results in character assassination because you're having to basically rethink these characters and do stuff maybe that they would be, you know, atypical of them. For example, like the entire plot for Woody is in Toy Story 2 is convincing Jesse to like give, you know, your owners or your kids another chance, right? And so that's when he says, you know, I'm going to blow this popsicle stand over there on Toy Story 4, which Marvin so beautifully said. It's just like, what is going on here? This is just atypical of this character. He would never actually do this, but it's the only way to progress these stories in this way. And apparently, I think Andrew Stanton, he's saying he's going to be out of there maybe as well after this, or the last film he directs for Pixar, which I thought was a very interesting comment from him, because obviously he was so prolific with Pixar specifically, maybe not in other ventures, which was most unfortunate for him. But Pixar kind of stumbled in this whole thing. If you look at the history, right? They originally didn't want to do a Toy Story 2. They initially were going to have another studio actually do that, and then it was like, okay. You know, if this has got Pixar stamp on it, let's go ahead and review what's in production. It was awful, terrible. John Lasseter has to come back in, rewrite this thing, redo this thing in a very short time span, and that's when Toy Story 2 was actually delivered right there. So to mine this over and over and over again, it's just antithetical to what the core, not only for these characters, was all about, but also to Pixar itself.
It's also, from a Disney perspective, it is, Vash, the antithesis of what Walt wanted, if I can, you know, borrow a phrase from our friend here.
And Dreamer's Point is the antithesis of the idea that Walt had this incredible optimism and hope for the future, that if we all work together and we all dream together, we could build the impossible and make it our reality.
Yep.
Yeah. So Walt Disney hated sequels. He never wanted to do sequels. He did not like to repeat himself. Famously, if you remember, when he was asked the question of whether or not he was going to do another movie with the Three Little Pigs, the response was, "You don't follow pigs with pigs."
Yes.
And Disney's been following pigs with pigs now for years. That was the entire Bob Iger model, was pigs after pigs.
And what do you get with pigs after pigs? Slop. And that's exactly what we're being fed most of the times when it comes to mining these character stories.
Well done. I like that. Set you up and you spiked it. Very nice, my friend.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know. We're going to see Toy Story 4, we've seen Toy Story 4, we're going to see Toy Story 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to infinity and beyond. Closing line. I'm proud of that one. That was a good one. Let's see. Let's check the chat here, see if we've got anything else. Packing Protons for 2 says, Ann H joke too much for TPP. Hey, Jonas. I again, I find myself at a loss because I don't understand the joke. But thank you for the 2. Let's see. This is The View, pigs after pigs. Oof. Okay.
That's terrible.
God, I hate The View. I've been watching like a hawk today because I'm waiting to see if Disney's going to actually do anything about Jimmy Kimmel today. I think that, you know, it's possible because we're hearing that local ABC affiliates have been pulling the promos for his show. So I've been watching like a hawk, waiting to see if anything's going to happen. I don't think anything will, just because of what happened last time. But man, does that guy deserve to not be on TV anymore?
Mm-hmm. Good luck, Josh, by the way.
Yeah.
Handed another problem from Bob.
Well, he's just gonna let Dana handle it, and then we all know what Dana's gonna do.
Yeah, and she's just gonna defer to him. So great, awesome, great organization.
Dana will back Dana will back Kimmel every single time. Not even a question. But
Oh,
guys,
yeah,
we have
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Our last story is a big one because we are going to be talking about the purging of the sequel trilogy from Galaxy's Edge.
I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
It's finally happening, folks. Disneyland has been purging elements of the sequel trilogy from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge over there in its Anaheim theme park. Has not come to Orlando yet, but many believe it's only a matter of time. Darth Vader, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and it might not be as bad as we originally thought. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. So here we have this article from WW Pro over on TPP. Disneyland scrubs Star Wars sequel trilogy from Galaxy's Edge, and fans are loving it. Of course, he says the first promo videos and photos did not go well for the Walt Disney Company when it started replacing the Star Wars sequel trilogy with Luke, Leia, Han, and Darth Vader. Should have been a decade overdue grand slam, but the costumes didn't look good. And we see here the costumes that we originally saw, that terrible wig. I mean, guys, this looks like the front of the package on the Spirit Halloween costume for Han Solo and Princess Leia. It is
Yes!
not good. And Steph, even Variety was dunking on Disney over this one. It's just not good. Not good at all. But did you guys see this? They have made a change. This is what Han Solo looked like when he debuted last night.
Han, I got a question for you.
Look at that.
Get the jacket.
So I know you
And the
That's
swagger.
way better.
Many
Yeah.
creatures.
The wig is better.
Has
His
anybody
face looks better. The
ever
costume is better.
scared you just by the way
The
they
shirt
look?
is quite nice and correct.
They put him in his Empire Strikes Back costume.
They sure did.
I don't know, Steph. What do you think? Do you think that's an improvement?
I think it's an improvement. Like I honestly, their debut looked a bit cringe, right?
Yeah.
It did look a bit cringe, but on the other hand, this is what we wanted from the very beginning. Like we wanted these characters in Galaxy's Edge, and now they're bringing these characters to Galaxy's Edge. Yes, probably because they're realizing that the sequel trilogy didn't pan out. All of their plans didn't pan out. What people are attached to is the original trilogy characters, and that's what they should have done from the very beginning. And it's not these actors' fault, right? It's not these actors' fault that they they look the way they do. They're not going to look 100% like the actors who played these iconic characters, but they're there, and that's really what we wanted from the very beginning. So I think he looks a lot better than the promo.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I don't know what he's saying or what the conversation is, but hopefully he kind of embodies that character of Han Solo. So I mean, that's really all we're asking for.
Yeah,
I wasn't
absolutely.
as hard and as critical as a lot of people were on it, because it's like they can't help it. Like they're what do you call them? These actors?
They're character actors, or
is that what they're called for Disney? I don't know. What
yeah, I
called
guess
for Disney.
I do just I would
Face
just call them
characters.
Face
Oh, yeah.
characters, character
Yeah,
actors,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
because
like
they're not
that.
they're not like union actors or anything like that. These are just
Okay,
people
yeah,
that are.
it's not their fault that that Disney put them in ill-fitting costumes for the promo. It looks good now, but I mean, for the most part, I wasn't too critical about it, because this is what we wanted from the very beginning, and now they're giving it to us.
Yeah, I mean, character actors at Disney, they kind of have a thankless job sometimes. Disney puts them in terrible costumes, or, kids hang on them, or parents aren't watching what's going on. People mob them. Jay trips them in the middle of the park. These things do happen. But we also saw Leia arrive with Han, and Leia looked a lot better. Here, take a look at this. That actually looks...
She looks adorable.
Yeah, she looks more like Leia. The makeup is a lot better. The wig is a lot better. Now, we don't have any video of Luke. I'm very happy for the guy that's playing Luke, that he doesn't look like Mark Hamill, because I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I mean, I thought Luke was of the three, Luke was the least offensive. When they were doing it. But we're also now starting to see, guys, that they are removing a lot of the sequel trilogy stuff from around. You see Andor props and other new updates inside Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge. Batu is packed with hidden details waiting to be discovered, from scorched blaster marks on the wall of Aga's Cantina, which is from a novel, a Vader and Thrawn novel. to rare objects tucked in the rafters of Doc Ondar's. Now visitors will have even more to explore. Because as of today, Galaxy's Edge expands its timeline to introduce elements from the original Star Wars film trilogy. As a result, there is a number of exciting new updates coming to Black Spire Outpost, including hidden Easter eggs. So when Batuu first opened in 2019, background. Let's have a look here. Novel and unique items. Some of the biggest changes are coming to the shop formerly known as First Order Cargo, reimagined now under the name Black Spire Surplus. Every shop and proprietor in Galaxy's Edge has a rich backstory, and this new military supply shop is no exception. Located near the TIE Echelon, Black Spire Surplus is run by 2 ex-clone troopers who fought side by side in the Clone Wars before finding themselves on opposite sides of the Galactic Civil War. One fought for the Rebellion, the other served the Empire as a stormtrooper, but the 2 ultimately decided to retire together and opened Black Spire Surplus as friends and colleagues. I actually really like that kind of story. He says, it's really fun to look at before and after photographs. We've gone from the very orderly, clean sterility of the First Order to something far that feels really weathered and lived in. I like that. I like that a lot. Visitors also to Doc Ondar's will notice the Curiosity Shop has everything from Kyber crystals to ancient Jedi artifacts, but guests should keep their eyes peeled for new objects decorating the walls and ceiling. For the new updates, the Imagineers drew particular inspiration from another iconic antique shop elsewhere in the galaxy, Luthen Rail's exclusive Coruscant Gallery from Andor. So they're adding Andor stuff in there too. Andor's a very popular thing, obviously. The Droid Depot is also getting, a whole bunch of different things, and DJ R3X is still spinning the tracks over at August Cantina. He is from the original Star Tours, obviously. Visitors who are fluent in Arabesh should take a close look at the job board posted inside the Cantina door. For those who are well-versed in the ability to translate or read Arabesh, you may notice some of the jobs have actually changed or been updated. That's interesting. And, of course, the biggest addition here, the John Williams score being played throughout Galaxy's Edge. That is huge right there, guys.
That is a massive thing. It took 7 years to get Star Wars music in Star Wars Land. Good time to do it, I suppose, but 7 years.
Let's take a look here. We have Darth Vader arriving for the first time in Galaxy's Edge. See him coming out here. I'm going to probably have to mute this until Vader comes out just because of the music. But stormtroopers come out first, and
please identify. Spaceport control.
Okay, they're doing like a whole little show there, and wow, we're really milking this, huh? Here he comes. Yep, they're hitting full Imperial March. Very nice. And here he comes. I just want to hear the crowd pop. Oh, they're really. There he is. There we go. It's about time, honestly. Look at that.
It took so long. It's ridiculous.
Is it James Earl Jones' voice?
I have come for an enemy of the Empire.
Not a bad sound alike.
Indeed.
So we got that, and then we've got First Order banners have been removed from Black Spire Outpost. You see it here. The First Order banners were up here on this area over there. They've now covered those up. Just saying, makes the area feel so lifeless. Get out of here. For the love of God.
I mean, you would think that they would put up Imperial banners, right?
Mm-hmm. So now also there is a galactic ID maker at the Star Wars Trading Post at downtown Disney. Costs $15. And let's have a look. So it's like a little photo booth you get into, and it actually makes you an ID badge. Could be for the Jedi Order, for the Empire, I guess for the First Order as well. But if you're wondering how this went, the new Galactic ID station, according to LivePlace.com, Trading Post, we're talking about a photo booth here, had an 1.5 hour long wait, guys.
Oh, wow.
I mean, those IDs actually looked really cool. The photo booth concept is a very interesting thing because they basically just rebranded one that you would find in like an arcade or something like that, which I thought was a little weird.
But honestly, to me, I think this kind of flies in the face of the idea that Star Wars is completely and totally dead. Lauren and I have been talking about this on our shows quite a bit lately, that like the black pilling about Star Wars is like, we're finding the more they start to brush up into the original trilogy again, the more people are suddenly showing interest again. Things like what's going on in Galaxy's Edge. I mean, they've got to bring that to Orlando, right? They can't just leave that as a California thing where Orlando is just the bad Galaxy's Edge that's just steeped in the sequel trilogy the entire time. I don't know. I'm a big fan of this.
Early. I think it's too early, honestly. Because I think like with every new thing coming to a park, there's a big surge of people that are really excited about it and want to come and get you have an hour and a half wait for this photo booth, which I think it's a really good idea. It's a cute little souvenir to take home. So it's too early to tell, honestly. I think they're doing what they need to do, which is rebrand or not semi-rebrand and bring in the original trilogy characters, because that's really what people want to see. I think that they made a huge misstep with the park, with Galaxy's Edge and how they handled that, and not bringing any original trilogy characters besides like Chewbacca, but that was only because he was featured in the sequels. So I think them going back and bringing all of these characters in and sort of like redoing Galaxy's Edge, it's a nice step it's a good step in the right direction.
Right.
But I think time will tell, because there is so much brand damage to Star Wars.
Yep.
I think like everybody coming in and seeing all of this new things that are coming to Galaxy's Edge is because it's new. It's the hype around
that's
new
possible
stuff coming to Galaxy's Edge. So I think time will tell if that'll help with the brand damage that's been done to Star Wars. Because I think like a lot of people have just lost faith in Lucasfilm and their ability to give us good stories when it comes to like the Star Wars brand and stuff. The Mandalorian and Grogu I've already sort of like written off as it's not going to be a movie that pulls in the money. Where you'll be able to see sort of like that shift will be Starfighter, I think, with Ryan Gosling, that movie, because I think more people are interested in that movie than Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think like the all-encompassing thing, like with the redoing of Galaxy's Edge as well as that movie, we'll see if like there's a bigger boost in sort of like reinvigorating the Star Wars brand.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. The one thing that makes me think that people aren't ready to give up on it yet, though, is one of the biggest things around the Star Wars ethos right now are those AI movies that we're seeing pop up on YouTube all the time, because people are giving fans what they actually want, and people are actually flocking to those videos. Like those videos are scoring big. Videos that are reacting to those videos have become really big. People actually want to see this kind of Star Wars. So I think that's something that you can't overlook, and it's why like I always I always have hope that they're going to maybe pull their heads out of the sand. The Darth Maul show is terrible. I've been watching that every week to review with Lauren on Tuesday mornings, and the Darth Maul show is awful. The Mandalorian and Grogu looks terrible. We'll see what Starfighter is like. That's still a Kathleen Kennedy production, so who knows? We will see what happens as time goes on with Star Wars. Vash, what do you think? Do you think the Star Wars brand is damaged beyond repair, or do you think there is still an appetite out there for good Star Wars?
Well, there's an appetite for it as long as they have the courage to pursue it. And that's the thing. I disagree a little bit that it might be too soon. It's never too soon to start making money. Which, by the way, the sequel trilogy simply wasn't moving merchandise. We know this from the staleness of Ridley Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Maybe it wasn't experienced as much in Orlando, but in California, where you have something like 75% of all of the guests inside that park at any one time coming from within 250 miles away, they are regulars, right? They're going in there often. They simply weren't going back to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with the offerings available. And it's one of the reasons why I do believe they brought this out in California before they brought this out in Florida, because it really did need energy. It really did need something to change within that land in order to get people back there and to buy merchandise. And I think that was one, a merchandise change, but also two, a shifting of this timeline. Now, what
a hard pill to swallow for Lucasfilm, though. Like to be able to have to be like, no, we were wrong, and we have to actually put the original trilogy in. We need Han and Luke. Like what an absolute joy that is. And we're gonna be talking to Gina Carano again, and like they are eating all sorts of crow.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they have to be. I mean,
wonderful.
we tried to tell them this back in the day, and yet
money talks. I mean,
we're,
my buddy sent me a picture from Ollie's the other day, and it was just an entire like wall of OSHA acolyte figures, like 10 deep on each peg. Like, nobody bought those.
I didn't know they existed.
And yet I just did a video on my channel the other day about how they're trying to say the acolyte is suddenly seeing a surge of popularity, but it's not, because the figures that they are quoting are completely misleading. And the other thing is that if viewership is up, it's because it's the thing that auto plays after Darth Maul, Shadow Lord. So people are watching that and getting bored and falling asleep. They're probably waking up 3 episodes deep into the acolyte. So, because it's a boring show that you could fall asleep
during. You get that amazing runtime right there from people who have, like you said, fallen asleep during the show. Look, I mean, I think, especially when, a lot of the stuff debuted with Star Wars Night, right? The first Star Wars Night, one of the first Star Wars Nights available at Disneyland. So they had some special events related to that. You saw projections in Space Mountain, for example, even Small World. The castle, I believe, had a few things going on with that. But it's really profound. The level of enthusiasm that's raised just a little bit higher. I know that Star Wars Night sales really, they sold gangbusters this time around, whereas last year they didn't sell hardly at all, which was a different thing in terms of the level of enthusiasm for this particular event. Now with these characters reintroduced to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and when you had like Luke, for example, hosting the lightsaber ceremony that they do around the Millennium Falcon right there, you could hear the reverberation from the crowd. They reacted to that far stronger than maybe Rey, who used to host that event for, the previous, 6 years.
Who cares what she has to say? At the end of the day, she does have some experience as a Jedi, Vash.
Do you have a bit of experience in that arena?
If you consider failure experience.
Indeed. We also need the clip of Thanos saying, you couldn't live with your failure. So
where did that get? Back to me.
Back to me. We need that right there for this story, because I think that's perfect.
We do have a clip of Star Wars fans, making their feelings known.
This is Travis Disney.
I love that clip. I always love that clip so much.
I didn't kill Han Solo. Wokeness killed Han Solo.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Galaxy's Edge being scrubbed of the hated sequel trilogy. They're pushing it into one little corner outside Rise of the Resistance. Will it be coming to Orlando? Only time will tell, but we are definitely watching and waiting for any kind of news. A couple super chats have come in. Packing Protons for $5 says Toy Story 5 should have been the other toys getting sold off, but Andy takes Woody and Buzz to college. Well, that wouldn't make sense, because Toy Story 4... okay. Packing Protons for $5 also says Toy Story 5 should have been about Woody's previous owner discovering him and the battle of feelings. We don't really know where Woody came from. I always assumed, Woody may have belonged to Andy's dad or something like that. I was always waiting for that kind of reveal. Because he was an old-timey toy. Mm-hmm. So they either bought him at a garage sale or and that's why I'm with Andy, I'm well, Woody should have been through this already because of how old of a toy Woody is. Packing Protons for $2 says Kimmel's Vegas residency was canceled. Really?
Oh, I gotta look that up.
That's interesting. I'm gonna look that up as well, because that's big news if that's true. Mm-hmm. And Juliet for £5 sterling, that's proper money, says subscribe, share. Vash Sky Park cast is on directly after at 2 p.m. Eastern. Yes, it is. Right. And Vash, what do you got cooking up on the Vash Sky Park cast today?
What don't we have cooking up, Marvin? It's crazy the amount of news that's actually going on. For example, magic bands. We all have that tech, I'm sure, if you're a really big theme park fan, in order to gain access to your hotel room, for example, when you're actually on Walt Disney World property. Back in the day, you actually used to give them out. We all know what that is all about, but what if I were to tell you that it might be going away forever? Very interesting stuff. A lot has been made about facial recognition at Disneyland. In fact, we had the LA Times actually write an article about that. There's been some updates to that, which I think were very, very profound, very, very interesting. As we went over with Star Wars and everything going on, I think it was very enlightening what the response actually was. We'll will go even deeper than what you may have seen here. But also, too, the Muppet paint job has been revealed for the exterior of Rock and Roller Coaster, starring the Muppets, and wow, it's
ugly as sin.
There were decisions made. So we'll go over that much more on Vash Sky Parkcast coming up right after that Park Place.
Awesome. And Steph, what do you got going on over at My Nerdy Home?
Other than Mario Kart tonight, I really have. I don't have much planned, so I might do some gaming streams. I'm thinking about playing Pragmata. So
I've been streaming Pragmata on That Game Place. Pro and I have partnered up on That Game Place now, and so I'm doing solo streams over there. And I have got to say, I don't know what I was expecting. This game is it is fun. It's engaging. It's delightful. It's wholesome. It's the best game I've played probably all year.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I was watching a couple of people playing it just because I'm the greatest gamer ever to be in existence, obviously.
Yes, yeah, clearly you are.
I was making sure I could handle it.
Yeah, no, I think you'll be fine because I'm fine with it, and I'm playing on standard. So,
okay.
So I can do it on standard, so you could probably do it.
Okay.
And Sevi got through it.
Something that's too difficult.
If Sevi got through it, we can get through
Kick.
it. Yeah. So yeah, check out Steph on Kick to watch those game streams. And of course, Steph and I will be on Geeks and Gamers Play tonight, playing Mario Kart, in which Steph will lose, and I maybe I'll
just be too tired to win. That's it.
That's
Unless I get in a good nap, I'll be too tired to win.
The excuses are already piling up. Cuban Superman for 5. When they show Rise of the Resistance on the Imagineering story, they show original trilogy stormtroopers in the AT-AT room shooting at the riders. Proof it was intended to be original trilogy. That's fascinating.
Correct. Yes, it was always intended to be original trilogy. In fact, it was supposed to be, I think, escaping from either an Imperial Star Destroyer or the Death Star. Something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they just
what they took from us.
I know. Those early plans looked really awesome.
I mean, how much would it really take to change the Rey hologram to Luke, to swap out the Kylos for Vader? Probably would only have to be down for a few months if they were ever to do that.
I think a few months. You'd have to redo some of that stuff, right? Maybe
you have to change the
Admiral
stormtrooper
Akbar
helmets.
Like
Yeah, you probably have to change the stormtroopers out, but
yeah, I mean, would it be super easy? Probably not. There's probably some programming in there and costumes that have to be made and all that kind of stuff, right? But could you do it? And would the fans love it? Yes.
Yeah, take off Finn's head and put Han Solo's on. Be amazing.
Yeah, that would be something.
All right, guys, make sure you check out my channel, also the M4 Empire. We've got new videos coming this week. We got the M4 cast tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And, of course, now I'm streaming with Pro. So I was doing M4 Empire Gaming. Pro and I have decided to combine our forces and go halvesies in on that game place. So that's where you'll find all my game streams for the immediate future. Over on That Game Place. We're 2 streams deep into Pragmata, so catch up on it. We're going to be doing more of that later this week. So we are going to be sending you guys over to the Vash Sky Parkcast. It's a little early. It's not starting until 2 o'clock, so make sure you get in there, hit the notify button, and hang around.
We'll go right now. We're going to go right now.
Vash will do it live!
Mm-hmm. We'll do it live, man.
Yeah, Vash will start... Vash is going to start early. A special treat for you guys. Vash Sky Parkcast starting early. Thank you guys very much. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and keep it right here to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.